Uh-huh. Y'all ain't ready for this.
Let's go.
Yeah. Listen. Check it. Let these bars give you an introduction. Tracy's sweet touch protection when she touch it. Hey, baby, you gonna love it. And I'ma split this verse and give you a summary of it. Jewelry so sparkling, she touch it. Craft so dope, she touch it. Case, Casey, cause she touch it. Abracadabra rest. Oof. Estella fabulous. Make no mistake, craft arts and cakes. She creates and creates and shifts from the Great Lakes state. Set a spark, contact her today. Passionately intrigued, our love is on this way. Hey, I know what it is.
Passionately intrigued.
That's right.
She's a sweet touch.
Hello and welcome to Passionately Intrigued Arts, and this is Tracy. I have a bunch of flowers that I have previously dried, and I have a video, if you'd like to go and watch it, that I use silica to dry these flowers. So I have a mold now, and it's a square 8x8 mold that I want to put these flowers in. I wasn't going to record this because I wanted to try it first before I came on camera, but why not? So I've already gotten started, and I'm going to show you what I've done already, and then I'll proceed to finish it out. It takes quite a bit of time, so these will be clips put together. Let me move these flowers out of the way and show you the mold that I have that I ordered from Amazon. I think I want a clear mold, and I can't really tell. I think this is shiny, so if it's shiny, then your edges and the flat surfaces on the bottom will come out clear. If not, they will come out dull. And it can be shined up, but it takes a lot more work to shine the resin once it's cured. So I have this mold, so we're going to go for it and see how. This is the first one that I've done. So I placed all these flowers, and these were flowers that I received for my birthday. It was a late birthday gift. I received them. My birthday was at the end of April. I received these in May, and I saved them, and I got the silica gel from Amazon, and I dried them out. So you put a layer of resin on the bottom, a thin layer. This is about 1/4 of an inch, if that much, and then you place your flowers. So I've placed the flowers, and I also added stones at the bottom and a little bit of sand. So I've placed my flowers and pushed them down with a stick into they're real delicate, into the resin, and then I poured some more resin over the top of them to hold them in place. Now I've mixed up more resin, and I use I could use the deep pour resin, but I didn't have it down here with me, and I didn't use it. So pouring this in layers, it should be fine using other resin. And so I use is this from my Dr. Crafty? Yes, Dr. Crafty resin. And this is the hardener. And this is the resin. And it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Deep pour resin is a 2-to-1 ratio, and it's a little more expensive. So I've mixed up a liter, 4 cups, 32 ounces of resin. And I've already stirred it and it's you stir for, they say 3 minutes, but with this amount of resin, I give it a good 5 to 6 minutes, because you have streaks when you mix the hardener and the resin together, and you want the streaks out. And at 3 minutes, my streaks were not out, so I just continued to mix until it was clear. So as you can see, it's clear. And I'm just going to, now, these bell flowers, they're called some kind of bell. I forget the name of them. They're real deep and have holes. So I'm going to hold this at an angle for the moment so that I can pour the resin into the bells to fill them, because I'm trying to avoid air bubbles. So if I pour inside first, then maybe I won't get as many air bubbles. Okay. Let me set it down gently and continue to pour. And this resin with this size of a mold will take 6 to 8 hours to harden. So with this 4 cups of resin, I'm going to see if it covers entirely these flowers. And if it does, and I don't have to use a full 2 inches, this is 2 inches deep. If this amount covers, and I don't have to use any more, then I'm not going to go the full 2-inch deep. Because you know, resin is expensive. The less I can use, the better. So if I can just get the right amount for coverage. Then I'm going to be done with this. And it looks like, I don't know, these little berries up at the top kind of stick up. That's what I'm trying to cover now. And hopefully, it looks like I might have enough. This just might have been perfect. They're sticking out a tiny bit. A tiny bit, doggone it. And I don't know if I want to mix more resin to cover. I just might. I didn't want to do that. But I don't know if you can tell on the camera that these little berries right here are sticking up. So let me, I'm going to scrape this out and get all my resin. I swear it's just a little bit more resin that I need to cover the top of those berries. And with this being the front, this is going to be the top, so this is going to be the front. I might not even pour anymore. I'll figure it out. You know, I say I'm gonna do something, then I don't, or I do something else. We'll see. Okay, I got all that out of there, all that I can get out anyway. Set that aside. See if I can bring it down a little further. No, my camera's not set up too good to bring it down any further. Now it has some air bubbles, so I'm going to take a torch and get the air bubbles out. There we go. So let me torch this. Now this would be nice if these would go down. They're just barely at the top of the surface. Maybe as this resin cures, I can kind of push them in, but then I don't want to mess up the top of the surface either. You know, I don't think I'm going to put any more. I really don't. I really don't. So let me use the torch, get the bubbles out. And after it dries, I'll bring it back so that we can unmold. And when I unmold this one for the first time, because like I said, this is the first time I've used this mold. When I unmold this, then I can see if it's the type of mold that's shiny, because it kind of looks shiny, but I don't think so. To see if my edges are going to be dull, or am I going to have to sand them. You know, the less work the better, but if I have to sand them, I will. Okay, got the bubbles out, and then you continue to watch for bubbles as it sits. So, you know, I'll go back and check it in another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and see if any more bubbles have come up from air pockets underneath these flowers. And then I'll hit it with the torch again. And so on the bottom, I forgot to say that. So underneath the flowers, I have some because I didn't want the back side, because this is going to stand up. So I have some, what are these? I use some, let me get it out. I used some alcohol ink in like a kind of turquoise blue color, and I colored some glass, some cracked glass, and I put that in that first layer of resin on the bottom, so that when this stands up, the back will have those crystal rocks, those colored cracked glass or whatever you call them. So I see a few more bubbles rising already, and I'm going to hit it again. And the bubbles are coming from the resin trying to seep up underneath the rocks, underneath the petals. So the air is trapped, but it does rise. And if you keep an eye on it, you can catch those bubbles so that your bubbles don't dry in your resin. So if you keep an eye on it, you can watch the bubbles rise and hit it with a torch to get them out. And they're coming up. So I'm going to sit it here for a few minutes as it settles and continue to hit this with the torch to get these bubbles out. And I'm babbling, so I will be back to show you the end results, and we'll unmold this together. I wanted to bring you back and show you how the bubbles continually rise up. I walked away for 10 minutes, which I should have stayed here and babysitted this, for a good 20 minutes. So they're constantly coming up, and I tried to use my torch, and it popped some of them, but with this 2-part resin, it starts to cure pretty fast. So I was unable to pop them. Still able to pop some, but some are too deep, and this top layer has begun to cure. Now, had I used the deep pour, which I should have and didn't, then I have a lot more working time to where I could have popped these bubbles. So, you live and learn. Those bubbles are going to be in there, and then with me using this torch to try to pop the ones that this pen to pop the ones that the torch wouldn't pop, it's the resin is stringy, so I probably am going to have to put another thin coat of resin on top of this to cover the imperfections. See how I can't pop that bubble? And see how it's stringy? That's because the resin is starting to cure. And so then I am messing up this top layer of resin. It will not be totally flat. Then again, it might level out. We'll see when it's totally cured if I have to put another coat of resin, a thin coat, on top of this. So hopefully all the bubbles have come to surface, because I'm not going to be able to get them out if they keep rising, because they'll rise and they can't get past this top level because it's begun to cure. However, it is still beautiful and it's going to be nice. I'll know what to do. Hopefully I'll remember all this with my next go at it. And then this is an 8x8. I don't know if I said that. This is an 8x8. And then these are the rocks that I used to put at the bottom. I think they're called river rocks, I believe, that I put at the bottom of the vase. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it alone. I have to leave it alone and just let it set up and deal with the little bubbles that are in there. So like I said before, I'll be back after I give this a good 6 hours to cure. It's only been about 2 hours and this is pretty firm. but it's still warm. You know, epoxy as it cures gets hot, and it's still warm. But you know, I'm anxious and I wanted to cover these bubbles, so I have mixed up some more epoxy, and I hope I don't mess this up by pouring it on here warm, but I just want to put a thin coat on the top to fill in those bubbles and cover those bubbles. I'm not going to put much, just want to put a coating, and that might be enough. You know, epoxy levels on its own. So I'm just going to pick it up and tilt it to each corner. It's pretty heavy. Tilt it to each corner to cover this completely. Then this can sit for the entire 6 or so hours to completely cure. But I wanted to get rid of those bubbles. I mean, not get rid of them, but coat this so that I have a smooth surface on top. Okay. Now, I'll be back in 6 hours to show you the final product and take it out of this mold. Hello, good people. I'm back. This has cured. It's set up for a good 5 or 6 hours, and I want to unmold it and see what we got going on here. So, it's pretty heavy. I don't know. I'm going to weigh this joker and see how much it weighs. That's a lot of epoxy. Okay, so it's not as shiny as I want it to be, so this is not the shiny type of mold, but I can get that to shine with a little sanding. Let's take it all the way out. Oh, that's pretty. You know, I'm gonna make another one. You know, practice makes perfect. Look at that. So, of course, I'm going to sand around these edges and get those smooth. And then I'll have to polish these sides to get them smooth. So, look at there. Now, this can stand up, I think, like so. Or I can put something on the back to hang it up, but it's rather heavy. Let me show the back to you. These are the crushed glass that I was telling you about that I colored myself with alcohol ink. It's pretty. I like it. What do you think? I'm gonna do another one. I don't know about soon, but I'm gonna do another one and see. I think I want to get a different mold. And then again, I don't know. I better use this one for a little while. But I smoothed it over. It's very smooth on the top. It does have bubbles. My light is in the way, but it does have a few bubbles, but not too many. This is a beautiful way to preserve your flowers. I like it. And then you see I've got the rocks on the bottom. So like when it stands up, it looks like the flowers are coming from the ground. I guess that was my ideal. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. Tell me what you think. What would you have done different? Have you done something like this before? I'm going to polish it up, like I said, and trim these edges. And see how I'm going to set it. If I'm going to have it just sitting straight up, or if I'm going to put some hardware on the back to have it hang on the wall. I don't know yet. I'll figure that one out. And then it's not too bad. I might not even do anything with these sides. I don't know. It's not too bad at all. You're not looking at that anyway. You're looking at the front. And then when it sits up, it has the pretty back. So you're looking at the front, however it sits. Oh, it looks so pretty in the light. Oh, that's really pretty. So thank you once again for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Hit the notification bell so that you can see what I've got next. Thank you so much. Peace and love, and we'll see you next time. Oops, my camera flipped. Bye, y'all. Oh, God.